Hey, mompreneurs, do you want more great days? Like, how does that sound? Like, let's just have a great day, moms. Would it be valuable to you to have more energy and like more bandwidth so that you can serve your clients a little better? Some of you out there are probably even thinking, yeah, sure, but I don't have time to increase any of my energy levels. I'm so focused on everyone else, right? What if I told you that your self-care routine only had to take up 2% of your day? Wow. Amazing, right? So that's exactly what Sarah Parise, our guest today, will be talking about on today's episode. So I'm awesome Angie Engstrom, honoring the awesomeness in you.
And I'm Gita Adgard. And once again, a big welcome, Sarah. We are so thrilled to have you here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. You know, now Angel and me, I guess we are mompreneurs too, so we're super excited about this.
Yes.
Okay, so some of you might not know Sarah, so I'm just going to do a short bio for her. Now, Sarah has a master's degree in exercise physiology. She is an experienced ACE certified personal trainer and wellness specialist, yoga instructor, but most important, she's a mom. And her passion is to help other mompreneurs take better care of themselves, have more energy, and love the way they look and feel on camera, leading to more visibility and ultimately more clients. And as Angie said, it only has to take up 2% of your time. So yes, pretty awesome. Once again, welcome, Sarah. We're thrilled to have you on the show today.
Thank you.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
let's get started.
Welcome to Momentum Maker Podcast. So, Sarah, in your words, tell us really quickly what your business is.
So my business is all about sanity saving for moms and mompreneurs in particular. So you mentioned the 2%, that's kind of where we start. 2% of the day carving out not just time for your physical self, because a lot of people look at me and they're like, oh, it's workouts, right? And I'm like, well, it's like that's a piece of it. But we also have to take into consideration our mental and emotional health. So that's what I help moms do. Carve out their busy schedule so that they can have more energy, not only for their business, but for the rest of their lives too.
I love that. I love that. So I know there's a story behind this. So tell us how you got started in this particular niche.
So I've been active my whole life. I, grew up an athlete. That was my thing. I was a college athlete because I didn't really love school, but I really wanted to keep playing basketball. So I did that. And then afterwards, I had done my training in K to 12 health and physical education. So I thought, I want to be a teacher. My mom was a teacher, a lot of friends that were going into teaching. I loved working with students and helping them like figure out their bodies and figure out like where their strengths lie. And it became very clear for me at the very beginning of my teaching career how much joy I felt in just seeing people move and get stronger or faster or whatever their goal was. That has always been a passion. Now it has shifted greatly in the last 20 years because 8 years ago, when I became a mom myself, I realized how very quickly I fell to the bottom of the priority list. And through some dark days in my mental health journey, through postpartum depression and anxiety and rage, how much that taking care of myself, and not just the physical way, in the mental and emotional and social way, really played a role in my story. So I was working with, before I became a mom, I was working with marathon runners and triathletes and high school students that were training to be college athletes. I even spent a stint working with wounded warriors through Hope for the Warriors, working with men and women who had been wounded at war, then getting them back on like hand cycles or on their new pieces and parts. And I thought that was my passion until I started working with moms. And I realized that working with moms is you affect the top level and then the whole thing is trickle down. So I help moms become healthier, their kids are healthier, their partners are healthier, their communities are healthier. Because when we're best version of ourselves, we can give our best to everyone else. So I started working with moms postpartum because I knew my struggle and I knew how hard it was for me. And I had a very active, healthy background. I, knew all the things. I had all the tools. And I was like, what do people do that didn't have the experience that I had? you know, losing weight or being stronger or just feeling good in your body again. I wanted to give everything that I wanted at that like 6-month mark postpartum. I wanted someone to exactly tell me what to do, like how to move my postnatal my body, which is totally different than my obviously pre-mom body. I wanted someone to tell me exactly what to eat so I could not only fuel myself, but I was nursing, so fuel my baby appropriately. And then most of all is I really needed someone to give me permission to take care of my mental and emotional health, to be like, you know what, it's okay. It's okay to take moments for yourself and to plan things for yourself, even though you are a new mom, and that's okay. And just kind of dropping, you can't ever drop the mom guilt, I don't think, but you can put it to the side for an hour or two and go out with some friends or go to the library by yourself or however you'd like to spend your time. So I took all what I wanted and I put it into my first program for moms. And it was just 3 weeks long and it was called Mornings for Moms. And that's where kind of my journey started, working with just mamas and now mostly mompreneurs.
That's incredible. I love that.
Yeah, me too. It seems so recognizable to me actually as a mom, you know, about just putting everybody higher on the list. So yeah,
Always.
yeah,
I think every mom out there can relate to that.
yeah. You're
And even
right,
like best laid
absolutely.
plans, like your best laid plans of like, oh, I'm going to still X, Y, and Z when I become a mom. And then you become a mom and you're like, oh, should I be doing that? Should I still be getting my hair done? Should I get my nails done? Should I make dinner plans? My baby
Yeah.
needs me. That's what I just remember always thinking, like, how could I leave? Especially when you're nursing.
Mm.
My baby needs me. I can't go out. I can't do something for myself. So I think that's where the mental health aspect really hit hard when I became a mom at 36 and I had an entire adulthood without children in it.
Mm. Would you dive a little bit into the process of how you help moms? Because I'm curious about that one.
Absolutely. Well, I like to start at the end. I love to ask people what their dream health scenario is. And as much and as often as women say, I want to get down to fill in the blank, the weight, whether it's, you know, a weight they were pre-kids or a size they were pre-kids. I really try to help them paint the picture on, but what about everything else? How do you want to feel in your dream health scenario? What does your day-to-day look like? How do you feel when you walk into a room, when you're dressed up, not in your at-home mom clothes, your mompreneur outfit kind of thing? Tell me what your best case scenario would be. And then we start to work backwards. So a lot of people come to me for weight loss. Obviously, that's like the number one reason. But along the way, it's fascinating to discover that it might not have anything to do with losing the weight. It has everything to do with like losing your sense of self and regaining that kind of purpose outside of being a mother and getting back into a role that you recognize. Because we all had lives before we became moms, and then we become moms, and a lot of times we're like, just mom. And just discovering
Mm.
yourself again. And I like to tell people finding that spark. So what excited you before? Maybe you can go back to it. Maybe it's something totally new that you didn't even know that you were interested in. So then we go backwards and we say, okay, what do we need to get there? So I do like to start with the physical because I think the physical benefits a lot of the mental and emotional and social health that goes into it. So we start very small. We take a look at how many steps you're getting a day. I talk about how you like to move your body. Are you someone that likes to do a spin class? Are you someone that likes to do Zumba? And then we try to work a program around it. So I do a lot of one-on-one coaching, and I call it accountability coaching because that's how most of us need. We need someone to make sure you're showing up. And when you're not showing up, have someone ask you the hard questions of like, well, why not? Were you busy or did you not prioritize it? And then,
Mm.
of course, I have my extensive, like a 12-week program where we go through every little week is something different, but it's all peppered with workouts, which are strength-based and yoga, no fancy equipment. You don't have to go to a gym. They don't take forever. Remember, it's just 2% of the day. And then it's the mental piece. What are we focusing on this week? Maybe it's getting back to being social. Maybe it's getting back to like going out with friends or doing something, depending on the age of your kids, of course. It's all very different how you go through your journey. But we address things like sleep, like everybody needs more sleep. We all know this, but how do we sneak this in with maybe a child who's not sleeping or a teenager that's up super late and you're waiting home for, and all these things. So it's been fun in the 12-week program to not only like have a solid core of what it looks like, but to be able to do the one-off coaching of what each family needs, because each family is very different. And then something I most recently added was the nutrition piece, because I was finding many people were like me, just tell me what to eat. Like, I don't want to decide what's for dinner. That's like the worst question ever of like, it's 4:30, what's for dinner? I don't know. What's for dinner? What are you doing for dinner? Kind of thing. So I give women the grocery list, the meal planning ideas to do a few days ahead. So you're not frantic at 5 o'clock throwing something together, or worse, picking up fast food. And then all of your recipes, breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the entire week. So if you don't want to think, if you don't want to have that mental load, that you can just look and be like, oh, here's our list. This is what we're having on Wednesday. And of course, the flexibility to change things up. I modify things all the time for people's dietary restrictions and their families, but it gives you that mental space to be like, I don't need to decide. Sarah's told me what to do. I wake up in the morning, here's my workout. Here's my journal prompt for the day. Here's my menu plan. Like, it's just, for me, the mental load of motherhood was overwhelming. And I really wanted to make that easier for the women that I work with.
Yeah, it really sounds super easy to implement. And it's all within these 2% of the day.
2% of the day. So it's a little less than 30 minutes. It doesn't need to be big. Because I think a lot of times we go with this all or nothing. Like, I can't get to the gym for an hour and a half anymore. This is how I was when I became a mom. Like, I can't get to the gym. Why bother? Like, if I'm not going to get a good workout in. And like, I have a free resource called How Busy Moms Prioritize Wellness. It's a bingo board. It's like little squares of things that you can do throughout the course of the day. So the women that have downloaded it, I love when I receive messages that it sits on my desk at work, or it sits on my refrigerator. So when I walk in to get a snack, I see it and I do 20 squats, or I do arm circles. And it's little things, no weight required. You don't need to change your clothes. All I ask is you take off your heels if you're wearing heels. That's the only requirement.
Oh, I gotta download that one.
That's awesome. And it's probably, you probably incorporate the kids in with it too. Is that?
Absolutely. The kids love it, especially toddler age kids or early elementary school kids. So my kids are kindergarten and second grade right now, and they love it. When are we doing it? When are we doing bingo? And I'm like, we're making dinner, we're doing our exercises. We're having snack, we're doing our exercises. They absolutely love it. It can definitely be a family affair. And when you make it fun and you involve everyone, it doesn't feel like selfish time you've taken for yourself, which a lot of us can't get over.
I love that. I absolutely love that. There was an episode years ago on Oprah where she interviewed a mom that had like 10 kids or 12 kids, or she wrote a book about it actually. And I'll never forget, when I heard that before I became a mom, and it stuck with me. I'm like, because she just figured out a way to spend 20 quality minutes every day with each kid. Like,
Wow.
she had a whole system down on how to do it. And it was just, and just hearing what you're saying just gives moms so much hope. Like, oh my gosh, I could exercise with my kids, and wow, I never thought about that before. Like, it's, I love how you're expanding the minds of moms and allowing them the space, and everything you're saying is just beautiful. I
appreciate that. I always say that self-care doesn't have to be by yourself. Like, I think people hear self-care and they think like a day spa, which is lovely. I mean, I wish I could do that in my life, but I don't do that in my life. But self-care can be going to play miniature golf with your kids. It's like anything that brings you joy or fills your cup is self-care, and it doesn't need to be by yourself.
Amen. Yes.
Yeah,
I love that.
I absolutely, yeah, me too. I absolutely love that concept. And I also love the fact that you keep expanding the program, when you get feedback from people, you can see, oh, they're struggling with this, like the diet. That's great.
It's been a journey.
Yeah. And for you to have all that collective knowledge from all the clients you've worked with, all the background you have, and for a mom to just come in and you got them, like, no problem. We got you, and you've got all the tools in your toolkit, and you can dole them out, individually as necessary. I think that's beautiful.
It helps a lot having the experience with all the other populations. Like, I've worked a lot with the aging population. I've worked with the wounded. I've worked with people post-surgery. Like, having all of that before focusing on moms. And now I think about like all of the birth traumas I've seen, all of the physical therapists I've paired with and partnered with pelvic floor issues. And I've learned so much. And I know I don't know everything, but I have a great resource library. So if you have a question and you need more help, I have someone to send you to, which has been the last year that I've really expanded that, which has helped so many more women.
I love to hear that. That's fantastic. And so our listeners love stories. So tell us a few client stories that stick out to you. I know there's plenty of them, but what are some of your favorites?
I know it's so hard to pick a couple.
I know.
But I think one of my favorite ones, because it kind of starts the same way as most people's journeys, and her transformation was epic. I mean, not just physically. Yes, she hit her weight goal, of course, but that was like, she worded it as like a pleasant side effect after everything else that changed. So she's a teacher. She's got 3 kids. Her husband travels for work. So essentially during the week, she's single mom. So she doesn't have a partner to be like, hey, can you do this so I can go work out, kind of thing. And that was her biggest hesitation to start working with me and to start the program. Because like so many other people, I'm kind of their last resort. They've tried all the other things and they come to me and they're like, well, tell me why this would work for me. And I was like, because I've worked with hundreds of women that have said that same sentence to me of why will this work for me? It's because it's doable, and it's absolutely, you can replicate it through the rest of your life. So we're not just going for like 30 days really hard and then we go back to our old habits. We're not like, anybody can do anything for 30 days, but we're talking lifelong. So when I started working with Jo, she's a Canadian, so she doesn't live near a city. So she doesn't have resources to a gym. She doesn't have resources to like go to a spin class or things like that. So she was solely relying on my program online. And she wasn't sure if she could do it, because we talked about what else could you pepper in, like as we transition from working with me back into your regular life, and what does this look like? What's your dream health scenario? And she could not get away from the weight. That she was like, I want to weigh 150 pounds. I want my BMI to be healthy. I want to fit back into everything that's in my closet. I don't want to have to rebuy my wardrobe. So that's where we started. And it wasn't anything more than that. So as she works through the program, and part of it is like, what can you take off your plate that doesn't need to be on there? So as women, a lot of times we just say yes to everything, especially as moms, as more and more things keep coming. And with 3 kids involved in extracurriculars and school, and she's a teacher and led the mentoring program and was on the board and had all of these other jobs that were not paid jobs, but were paid in time for sure. When we got to that portion, we had our one-on-one call. And I said, so what are we going to take off your plate? And she started crying. And she's like, I've realized in the last 6 weeks on how much I give, and it offers me nothing. Like, I don't even enjoy what I'm doing. I'm like, I'm serving on all of these boards and committees because I feel like I have to. And that's the time I could be taking for myself, or just enjoying my girls' gymnastics meet or their taekwondo competition. But I'm like giving more than I have. So I use the analogy a lot, like pouring from an empty cup. When you're like completely spent, you don't have anything else to give. There's no like pushing through. There's just nothing else to give. So I challenged her. I said, well, you have to start small, because you want it to stick like anything. You can't like cut out all carbs and then like go back to eating all carbs and have it be an effective way. So I said, it's the same thing with your responsibilities. If you can just take off one thing from your plate that is not serving you, that yes, you feel like you should do all these things, but give someone else an opportunity. And that really resonated with her. I said, you're involved in all these things. There's other people that probably want to be involved. So she filed her, notice. She said, 6 weeks, I'm done with this board position. They found someone else to fill it. And then she liked it. And then she dropped something else. So she ended up getting rid of 3 positions in her life that were taking up roughly an hour a night for these 3 positions. And she signed up for Taekwondo herself. So now her daughter goes to Taekwondo, and then she does the adult class afterwards because she doesn't have all these commitments. So at the end of the program, she hit her goal weight. She was making friends at Taekwondo, which she didn't have a community of friends before, because she doesn't live in a neighborhood. She lives on a farm. And not only was she benefiting her physical self, but her emotional and her mental health was like next level. It was like she was a different person 12 weeks later. And that's when she said the weight loss was just a pleasant side effect. And I loved that for her, because she didn't even realize what was draining her energy until I really challenged her to think about it and made her answer and be like, is this filling your cup? And the clear answer was no. So dropping 3 things off the plate that she felt obligated to do. And then for once, she chose herself and she started doing the Taekwondo classes.
Love it.
Such a beautiful story. Yeah, I absolutely love it. Amazing.
I loved her transformation because it was just, and I thought it was so powerful too, because she does have 3 daughters and her daughters see everything. And her oldest is 14, and her daughter, who is 14, called her out on it and told her how proud she was for doing something for herself. Because I know, like growing up, my mom never chose herself. She never put herself first. People ask me all the time. They're like, how did your mom, did your mom take care of herself? Did your mom? I'm like, my mom still doesn't. We're all grown and she still doesn't. She finds other ways to take care of everyone else still. But I love that the 14-year-old was able to say and communicate it in a way of like, wow, I'm so proud that you're taking care of yourself. Because then you fast forward 20 years and this young woman is going to do the same thing that her mom is choosing, whether it's conscious or not.
Yeah, I love how the work that you're doing, it reflects to the children such great habits on so many levels. Oh my goodness. I love this, Sarah.
And that's why I love what I do. I mean, it's just, people are like, do you enjoy this all the time? Like, you just talk about wellness all the time. Doesn't it get old? I'm like, it never gets old to me, because everybody's story is so different and everyone's circumstance and their past is so different and their future is so different. And I've loved working with the women that I'm working with and the families now that I just work with moms.
It's quite obvious when you listen to you. It's so obvious that you really love it, and I love the energy you're giving out. So, yeah.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Now, I was thinking, what holds people back from working with you? You were talking about sometimes people think that they can't do it, so they're holding back. Anything else that might be holding them back?
So one thing people say all the time is the money. Like they're like, I can't, and I have programs. I have my 12-week program. I have one-on-one program, but I have a lot of lower end programs also, like a 7-day reset that is like 7 workouts, 7 mindset trainings, and 7 days of recipes kind of thing. So it's like a less of a committal way to get involved with just kind of seeing how I do it. So a lot of people say money, and I hear it a lot, way more from moms than I have in any other population that I've worked with. And I think the number one reason is that we feel selfish. Like we feel like we should be putting it towards our kids or their activities or their health things, or, saving for family vacation or something. And my response is usually the same of like, where do you see yourself in 5 years without this program? Like what you're doing now, is it working for you? And if it is, great. It might just be a little bit slower, but maybe you figured it out. And if not, would investing a little bit of money in your own health now be exponential 5 years from now? And some people truly don't have the money, and I understand that. And that's why I started offering smaller offers and like I have a lot of recipes, like a lot of 4-week meal plan type things, because that seemed to be a popular one for people to do. And it's very doable. Not everyone can afford like a one-on-one wellness coach, but I think the money is a stopper, but more so people are worried that it's not going to work, because there's so many like quick fix things that are out there that many of us, including myself, tried postpartum and it didn't work, or it worked and it didn't stick. So as soon as I stopped it, I went right back to what I was doing before, kind of thing. So I think just kind of like hesitant on like, is this going to work? That skeptic side of us that's like, are you selling me a real thing? Or is this like a promise at the end that I will love the way I look and feel? And I'm like, if you do the work, I guarantee you'll love the way you look and feel, because I've worked with over 200 moms at this point, and I see, the proofs in the numbers. But I think people come into it and be like, I've tried so many things. Why would this be different? And I get it, because I was in that same boat before I created it, of like all these quick fixes, because let's be honest, weight loss after pregnancy is not quick. And now we have all kinds of shots and drugs and things that speed up the process, which are appropriate for some, but not all.
No, I absolutely agree. Yes. So valuable, the work you're doing, Sarah. I love it.
Oh, thank you. I'd like to think so. Changing the world, one mom at a time. That's what I tell
Yeah.
Yep, one mom at a time. I love that. Yeah, and one family at a time, because ultimately that affects the entire family.
And truly it is, because you see kids who are just off to a horrible start in life, and whatever the reason, and they're overweight and they eat unhealthy, and the statistics are devastating. Like if you're an overweight child, by the time you get to fourth grade, your chances of being morbidly obese later in life, it's unbelievable to me. Like, not that families choose this, but I think sometimes you just don't know better, or you know better and you just don't know how to implement it, kind of thing. And there's obviously a ton of bad choices out there for food these days that are very much more affordable than healthy choices sometimes. But when you learn how to cook in a budget, which meal planning helps hit that budget, that you can actually save money by doing like a meal plan type thing every day, and not just grabbing. Even McDonald's is expensive these days, not just grabbing. It's no longer really cheap food anywhere.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
true.
whole conversation right there.
Oh, the
Yeah.
budgeting, that has been big these recent times. The budgeting questions have been so hard. And I'm like, you'll actually save money if you follow this grocery list and don't stray. Unless you absolutely need something else, don't stray. Here's your budget. Here's what it's going to do for you. And there's less food waste, which I'm also a huge fan of not, throwing food away. There's plenty of people in this world that don't have enough food. I hate to see, people that can afford it throw away food.
Wow. Well, thank you, Sarah. This was wonderful to learn about, how you're working in the world and helping these moms. I love it. I absolutely love it.
I appreciate you all do too. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So as we wrap up, is there anything else you want to share? You've shared a lot of gold nuggets already.
I'd say one, come over to Facebook, join my Facebook group. It's called Time Out for Moms, totally free. I do live workouts, live meditations. We do recipe exchanges, monthly challenges with coffee prizes, because every mom wants coffee, and things like that. But really, I think what I'd love to leave you with is just like, don't wait. I work with so many moms that like at the end of the program, I'm like, why was this the right time to do it? And every single mom has the same answer. Like, I wish I didn't wait. Like, I wish I did just do something, whether it's get out and walk for 5 minutes after dinner, do a short 3-minute meditation. If you don't want to sit with your own thoughts, do a guided one. There's plenty of them free on YouTube. Just do something for yourself today and just see how it feels. And then you can continue it. It's like the snowball effect. You just do a tiny bit and it leads to way more.
Thank you for doing this work. I think it's a big gap that you're filling.
Thank you so
Moms
much.
need to know that you exist. Honestly, it's a
And I
big
appreciate your help with letting them know.
Yes. That's why we exist.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, Giddy, you have any last words?
Yeah. If people are wondering what's the next step, if they want to know more about you, you were talking about that bingo. You could your bingo
Yes,
plate you could put on the fridge. Would you tell people where to find it?
Absolutely. I think you said the link will be in the show notes, but if you want to find me on, and it's like a bingo board you can print out. It's all different exercises and mindfulness activities that you can do throughout the course of the day. So maybe you don't have 20 minutes to work out. Great. Do you have 25 seconds? We all can carve out 25 seconds. So that's where the bingo board came in for all the mamas out there that said, I don't have time. Well, when you're making dinner at night and you're doing your exercises from your bingo board, then send me a message, because I love those. And you can also find me on Instagram. My handle is Great Days by Sarah, because I honestly believe that everyone, obviously moms, but everyone deserves to have more great days.
Thank you. So I would just encourage people to connect with Sarah on Facebook and find that bingo board. I'm gonna find it. So yeah, let's wrap it up. Thank you so much for coming on the show. So happy to have you here, Sarah, and share your message and share the difference you're making for families, actually, not just moms. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. I'm Gitte Odgaard.
And I'm Awesome Angie, honoring the awesomeness in you. And thanks once again, Sarah, for being a wonderful guest on Momentum Maker podcast. Listeners out there, thank you for listening. Keep your momentum, keep moving forward. And if any of you listening happen to be a course creator or any kind of a content creator that brings a transformation to your audience. And you might be spending a little bit too much time on the phones, doing the one-on-one sales, and you're ready to sell one to many, then open up a tab on your browser and go to elitevirtualstages.com/blueprint and learn how you can turn your expertise into a 6 or 7 figure day. Oh yeah, moms, 6 or 7 figure day. Yes, that's what I said. And we do it using live transformational virtual masterclasses. So keep your momentum, everyone. Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.